Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and in today's video, happy 2025. I feel like I haven't talked to you guys since 2025 started, so happy 2025, man. I hope you guys have had a great 5 days, is it? 6 days, 6 days now. And for those people that are going to be like, Mark, where you been? Where you been, Mark? I haven't seen you in like 5 days. I know, man. I've been celebrating. I'm excited, man. It's 2025. This is a year of the Roden. In case you don't know, this is Chinese New Year. Without further ado, though, today's video is going to be on the top 25 best Dodges of all time. We're doing this with every brand. We've done it with BMW, Nissan, Honda, Volvo, Daewoo, Daihatsu. Not really. I haven't done those brands because those brands are poopy. But today's is going to be on Dodge. You guys said you wanted to see some Dodge videos, so now we got some Dodge videos. I do want to make this very abundantly clear. However, we just lost a round in Rainbow Six Siege. Very sad about that. But I want to make this abundantly clear real quick. I'm not the biggest Dodge guy, so some of these vehicles I don't know much about, if I'm being honest. So take that into consideration. I'm kind of just basing it off of like what the internet says. So without further ado, let's get right into it with number 25. Sorry that my dogs are barking. I'm gonna go up there and pet them. And coming in at the number 25 spot is going to be going to the Dodge Demon. The Dodge Demon is the new Demon. Apparently they made a Demon back in the day, and spoiler alert, that's also on this list. But the new Dodge Demon is pretty much just a beastie Challenger. If you like drag racing, you'll probably like this car. I'm not the biggest fan of drag racing, so it doesn't really appeal to me too much. And Challengers already have really bad handling, and this one has even worse handling. And so to me, it's not my biggest cup of tea. They're also expensive, very like, what's the word I'm looking for? Lucrative? It's not the word I'm looking for. It's very exclusive. It's a very exclusive car to own. It just doesn't scratch all the boxes for me. But again, if you love drag racing, if that's all you care about, then you probably like this car a lot. Coming in at the number 24 spot, however, is going to be going to the Dodge Ram 4th generation. As far as I know, I actually do know a decent amount. Not that much, but a decent amount about the old Ram trucks, because they have bad transmission issues. I feel like every single truck under the sun at some point has had bad transmission issues, and this is the time when they fix those transmission issues. And so you may be like, well, why isn't it higher? In my opinion, the 4th gen Ram just looks kind of like blah compared to some of the other Rams. It is still a good truck, you know, and for its price right now, it's pretty hard to beat it, especially since it doesn't have those transmission issues, like I said. But overall, coming in at 23rd is going to the first time that I feel like Dodge really was like, hey, you know what, let's just put an overly huge V8 into something that it doesn't belong in, with a Magnum SRT. This thing is a wagon with a Hemi V8 in it. Need I say more, my friend? It's a rear-wheel drive wagon. Now, let me explain something. Looks wise, yeah, it's a little interesting. Okay, I'll give it that. And on top of that, a lot of people say this car is really unreliable, which kind of makes sense. It's almost like they just literally did an engine swap on a regular Dodge Magnum and it was like, yeah, here you go. And so it's not the most reliable out there, which is why it's here at the 23rd spot, but it's cool. It has aura. It's got like 1 million followers on Instagram. Coming in at 22nd is one that it took a while, but it finally started kind of growing on me a little bit. The Chrysler Crossfire SRT6. Now I know you're probably like, well, Chrysler isn't Dodge. You're stupid, my friend. It's the same exact thing. It's interesting, and that's the reason why it's here at the number 22 spot. It just looks weird. Okay, the SRT6 part of it, obviously, that's pretty cool. You know, Dodge putting weird motors in cars that it really doesn't belong in is, again, pretty cool. But the Crossfire part of it, that part, not so much. And coming in at the 21st spot is the other Demon, the 1971 Demon 340. This is one of the ones where I don't know much about it, if I'm being honest, but doing my research, everybody on the old forums was saying, yeah, the Demon 340, that thing is a beast. It has the word 340 in it, and that's oddly close to 350Z, and I'm a big fan of 350Zs, so hey, it deserves a spot on the list. Looks cool. I love classic Dodges. As a matter of fact, we're going to see that in this list. There are some that are just absolutely gorgeous. But it's the Demon before the Demon. It's got to be good. You know, if you're a real Dodge guy, let me know if I'm wrong, but it's got to be good. Coming in at the number 20 spot, however, is going to be going to the Dodge Caliber SRT4. It's pretty much the Dodge Neon, but in a bigger body. So if you think about it that way, it's just a worse version of the Dodge Neon. But hey, the Dodge Neon SRT4 is already pretty good. It's kind of, this is closer to the PT Cruiser GT than it is to the Neon SRT4, I feel like, in terms of weight. It's front wheel drive. The looks are divisive. I don't think it looks awful. I don't think it looks good though either at the same time. I think it's just an average looking car. Coming in at the number 19 spot is making its rounds recently. People have been talking about these cars more and more. It's the Dodge Hellcat Durango. Yeah, because they made a Hellcat version of the Durango. My mom used to have a Durango, not one of these generations of the Durangos, but she did used to have a Durango. Pretty nice car, I guess. I'm not a biggest fan of like SUVs with giant motors in them because I don't really care for SUVs, but I mean, it is cool nonetheless. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie and act like it's not cool that they did that. And the fact that people are enjoying it, hey, power to them. My personal cup of tea, probably wouldn't buy it, but go for it. Now, this is my cup of tea, the complete opposite of what Dodge usually does, because it's the Dodge Omni GLH. It's a hot hatch. One of the first ever hot hatches, people like to say, and honestly, I can see where they're coming from. It's an 80s hot hatch. And again, Dodge doesn't really make cars like this too often, the small cars with the front wheel drive and, you know, high revving inline fours. And so when they do, it always just works, and that's exactly how it is with the Omni. I understand most Dodge fans are probably gonna be like, wow, this car beat out the Demon and the Magnum SRT, and they're probably gonna slap me in the face for it. I like this little thing. Coming in at the number 17 spot is a car that's oddly similar to the Omni GLH. Not really. Actually, it's not similar like at all. I don't know why I said that. It's a Dodge Stealth TT, which stands for Titty Toucher. Just kidding. It stands for Twin Turbo. It's pretty much the Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4, but looks slightly worse. I don't know why they decided to go with that weird spoiler thing. Not the biggest fan of that. But as we all know, the 3000 GT VR4 is a great car, but an unreliable car. And that's pretty much exactly what the Dodge Stealth TT is. Speaking of unreliable cars, coming in at the number 16 spot is going to the Dodge Viper first generation. This is the SRI, the very, very first RT10 Vipers. We all know the history of these. These are really legendary cars, obviously, but in terms of actual performance and everything, they kind of suck. I'm gonna be 100% honest, they're just kind of butt cheeks. They're not the best out there. Pretty much every generation of the Viper has improved since the beginning, and this is, I know it's gonna hurt some people's feelings that I put this one as, spoiler alert, my least favorite of the Vipers, but I personally don't even really like the looks that much compared to the other ones. Its handling is god-awful compared to the other ones, and it has literally like no comfort features whatsoever. It's the worst one in my opinion. And coming in at the number 15 spot is one of those cars where it's like, yeah, I get it. I get why the old heads are mad, because it's the Dodge Dart Superstock. This thing wasn't a beast. Freaking, like, I don't even think they painted the front fenders and hood to save weight. It was just primer. Like, that's insane. That's just Dodge in a nutshell right there. If you don't know, the Dodge Darts back in the day used to be big V8 powered muscle cars, and nowadays the new Dodge Dart GTs are kind of like just tiny little inline fours, and makes people upset. And so I get why people are upset with that, but dude, this thing was a beast. Coming in at the 14th spot is a truck I do like, my friend, the Dodge Ram SRT10. What do you get when you take a Dodge Engineer, a truck, and a Dodge Viper? You get this bad boy. That's pretty much what it was. It was a Dodge Ram that they put a Viper motor in, and it was a beast. They lowered it, they put stiffer suspension on it, gave it bigger brakes, bigger tires, made it a race truck pretty much. And it's sad that people just like, I feel like people just completely forgot about this truck too. Like, no one talks about it. It's an absolute beast, but it doesn't, the reason why I'm breaking it pretty low is it literally serves like zero purpose as an actual truck. Coming in at 13th place is going to be going to the Dodge Viper 3rd generation. I think this one, while it did improve technically performance-wise on the 2nd generation, I think it didn't. I don't think it did, man. First of all, pretty much every single one of these are convertibles only, and I'm not a fan of convertible Dodge Vipers whatsoever, I've come to find out, because these things do not look that good. And then on top of that, its performance, again, it was good, but it just, it looks like girly, and the Viper's supposed to look like a viper, a snake, but it just looks like a newt or something. Coming in at the number 12 spot is I feel like a divisive car, the Chrysler 300 SRTs. This is, I'm gonna go primarily with the 2nd generation of them, but the 1st gen is it's fine too. I like both of them. I don't really care too much about it. But pretty much what they are is they're giant sedans, luxury sedans, by the way. These are like actually pretty comfortable cars, feel like you're driving on a cloud, and then they put a Hemi V8 in it. Again, the reliability is not really there. I feel like every time Dodge decides to put an engine in a car that it doesn't really belong in, the reliability tends to be bad. But it mixes luxury with insane performance, and you gotta love that. I don't think they come with manual though, and that I don't love. Alright, this is like one of the most popular ones for sure. This is probably the most legendary Dodge, the Dodge Charger Daytona. You guys know about it. I don't gotta tell you, it's the king from cars. It's got the giant wing on the back of it. People, when it was released, people didn't like the looks of this car, so it didn't sell well. I don't know what people were smoking back then, but I don't want it, because I love the looks of this car. It's an absolutely gorgeous car. The wing and the front and pig nose thing on there, amazing. The history for the car is also incredible. One of the first cars, I think, to reach 200 miles per hour, unless that was the F40. One of the first ones, though, it was one of them. And it had an insane NASCAR history, too. It's just a beast. Coming in breaking its way, mind you, into the number 10 spot is going to the 1970 Dodge Coronet Super Bee. I have said it before, and I will say it again. The Coronet Super Bee is one of the most gorgeous cars of all time. The headlights on this car are just amazing. Also, my teammate Vortex1703 on Xbox, if you're watching this video, you are insane at Rainbow Six Siege. Thanks to you for carrying me. But either way, this thing is absolutely gorgeous. Now, the reason why I'm not putting it at like number 1 or something is it is just a 70s muscle car, and on top of that, it didn't actually perform that good compared to like Dodge's other lineup, like the Charger, Challengers. Those just did so much better, but this thing is still amazing. Coming in at the 9th position, however, my friend, is going to be going to the Dodge Ram 3rd generation now. This one did still have the old transmission issues, but I think, this is gonna sound crazy, I think it just is so much cooler, man. I don't know, it just, the 3rd gen Ram just feels more like a truck. Also, I want to apologize for my heater being on in the background. If I had to wait for that every time I wanted to record a video, I would never be able to record a video, so I apologize deeply. But yeah, the 3rd gen Ram is, in my opinion, gorgeous. It does have the transmission issues, and that's unfortunate and all that, but man, I like it. Coming in at the 8th position, however, is going to be going to the Dodge Viper 4th generation. This one was right after the one, well, obviously it's right after the 3rd gen. That's kind of how numbers work, but in my opinion, it massively fixed the looks. I'll give it that. It definitely made it a lot better looking of a car for sure. It looks much more aggressive, much more like what I imagine a Viper. On top of that, they didn't go with the whole convertible only options again, and they were back to being a coupe, and they're cool cars is what I'm trying to get at. On top of that, they're like one of the cheaper Vipers you can buy too, which is obviously really good, but I still it doesn't scratch the itch as the other two. I'm sorry. 7th place, however, is going to be going to the Dodge Neon SRT 4. I've talked about this car plenty of times because I do cheap car videos, but it's a tuning legend. Back in the early 2000s, a bunch of American car companies were trying to do that. Chevy did it with the Cobalt, Ford did it with the Focus, and Dodge did it with the Neon. And I think, in my opinion, Neon is the one that did it the most successfully. I think the inline 4 that the Neon had was capable of making pretty decent power numbers. On top of that, it already had a decent number out of the gate. It was a lightweight car. Looks wise, it definitely, in my opinion, isn't the best looking. It kind of looks funny, but that's okay because performance massively backs it up. One of the still like remaining tuner cars of the 2000s that are like cool. Coming in at 6th place is every takeover guy's favorite car for some reason, the Dodge Charger Hellcat, which are only available in automatics. That should tell you kind of everything you need to know about takeover guys. But either way, these are 700 horsepower rear-wheel drive sedans. I would be lying to you if I said that that's not cool. I think they actually finally figured out the reliability too. As far as I know online, everybody says that these cars are actually pretty decently reliable. They're a good car. You can hate on them as much as you want because of the people that tend to get them. It's takeover kids, and nobody really cares for takeover kids. And you can hate that. I get it, but they're really, really good cars for what they are. On top of that, the wide body versions of them are just absolutely gorgeous. And of course, naturally, that leads us into the coupe variant of that, because number 5 is the Challenger Hellcat. They're pretty much the exact same thing. I think the Challenger is slightly more cool. I think it looks better. It's kind of 100% up to you, but yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. I'm not going to really talk about this car for too long. It's the same exact car. Staying in the Challenger family, because number 4 is the significantly better version of the Challenger, the 1970 Dodge Challenger R/T. This thing is an absolute beauty. I do like the Hemi Cudas better, but I decided, you know what, we'll go with the Dodge Challenger RT because they're exactly the same thing pretty much, and it's a Dodge list, so I didn't want to make people mad. But yeah, these are incredible cars. In case you don't know, muscle cars in general are, I feel like the classic muscle cars are becoming less and less appreciated for what they are. It's like, yeah, this thing isn't obviously going to win a race against a Porsche around Nürburgring, but that's not what it was built for. And you go to like a drag strip and you see one of these things, you're gonna fall in love. They're beautiful, beautiful cars. 3rd place is going to the final generation so far of the Dodge Viper. I feel like everybody's all scared because they think the Dodge Viper is just completely dead and it's never coming back. They discontinued the Viper like 3 times already. Calm down. They'll come back with a 5th gen or a 6th gen. But it's a Viper 5th gen. Looks wise, they absolutely nailed it. This car is out of the park looks wise. The ACR is an absolute track monster. There's quite literally nothing really wrong with the 5th generation Viper besides the price. They are still pricey, and I feel like they're never going to come down since they stopped making Vipers for right now. And so it's unfortunate, but everything else about the car is absolutely incredible. And they stuck with the V10. Good job, Dodge. But 2nd place, however, is going to be going to one of the best muscle cars of all time, arguably the best in my opinion, the 1969 Dodge Charger R/T with the hidden headlights. Oh my god, we need to bring back hidden headlights. Where did hidden headlights go? Where did they go? we need them. Like, every car with hidden headlights back then was so cool, and this is one of them, the Dukes of Hazzard car. I don't know what it is about this car, I just love it. I love everything about the looks of this car. It's so simple, but works so well. It has a squared off body. I know it might be a hot take saying I like it better than the Challenger. I don't care, I guess I'm a hot boy, okay? Honorable mention, because I wanted to mention it really quick, but it's really not that great of a car. It's going to be going to the Dodge Ram 2nd generation. Literally, it's only here because I like the looks of it. It looks like such like a manly car, however, or manly truck, I should say. However, at the same time, it also looks like the guy that drives it probably beats his wife, so keep that in mind as well. And finally, first place, my favorite Dodge of all time is, of course, the Dodge Viper 1st generation facelift, or the SRII. I always call it the 2nd gen, even though it's technically not a different generation because it's on the same chassis as the 1st gen. I always call it, it's the 2nd gen. It's the best Viper, the GTS Viper with the blue and silver stripes. It is just perfection. I know it's performance-wise, obviously isn't the best Viper, that's the 5th gen, but I don't care. Of its time, it was absolutely insane. The price of them are actually somewhat affordable for a regular person. Like, you can find one of these things for like 50 grand, and like, that's obviously not cheap or anything, but it's affordable for an average person, and it's just, it scratches all the itches, man. It's stuck with the V10. It fixed all the horrible performance problems of the true 1st gen and fixed all like the uncomfortableness of the 1st gen. It's just perfect. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video ranking the top 25 best Dodges of all time. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see in the comment section down below. And yeah, just, again, sorry if you're a big Dodge fan and you're like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about, okay? I'm not the biggest Dodge guy out there. As a matter of fact, I'm not the biggest American car guy out there. I like them, but I'm not like the biggest fan of them, you know? So there are definitely going to be some instances where I didn't know what I was really talking about. So for those guys, I deeply, deeply apologize. Good news. During that entire video, I was recording in between whenever I died in Rainbow Six Siege. I just put my headset down. I was the worst teammate, gave him 0 callouts. But look at this, we won the game. Not by my help at all, but we did it. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Let me know what other brand you'd like to see me do a video like this on. Obviously, happy new freaking year. Sorry again for my heater turning on over and over again because couldn't really help there. And then on top of all that, sorry for my dogs barking. Today's video was absolutely hectic. It was all over the place, but hope you guys enjoyed nonetheless. Das Badanya, and have a nice night.